After my soul reincarnated as a young ancient ancestral dragon in Spirit River City, I originally planned to turn myself over to the country and live a carefree life, but because of my extremely ordinary appearance, I was completely ignored. It turns out that in this world, a mythical giant beast invades every year and descends with countless supernatural energies, causing a massive number of creatures to mutate. Humanity's thermal weapons are as useless as scrap functions in front of them. In just a few years, the world's population dropped by a third, so if I want to latch onto the country's coattails, I have to show extraordinary strength. Just as I was worrying about this, I happened to awaken the infinite evolution system. As long as I keep eating, I can complete my evolution. Right now, I've just finished sorting through the information in my mind, and I feel a powerful wave of hunger, so I set my sights on the little girl not far away. I saw a huge pile of snacks laid out in front of her. Seeing this, I shot out like a rocket and gobbled up the bread, cookies, spicy strips, and everything else into my stomach. You gain 1 purification point by eating. Body length increased by 3 centimeters. Purification points, 1 out of 10. I grew 3 centimeters that fast. But just as I was shocked, the little girl next to me suddenly threw her head back and started crying. Soon, her sister and grandfather rushed over at the sound. But the moment they saw me, the old man suddenly trembled all over in shock. This is a dragon. Grandpa, what's a dragon? An ancient divine beast. This is an ancient divine beast. This is huge. This is huge. It turned out the old man's name was Li Jianzheng, and he was a divine biology expert. At that moment, Li Jianzheng suddenly remembered something, so he carefully closed the courtyard gate. Ziran, keep an eye on him. I'm going to call the higher-ups. And me. Wolfing down food on the lunch counter, saw everything clearly. This family didn't mean me any harm, so I could stay a little longer. But what did that old man mean by calling the higher-ups? Could he really contact people at the top? Sure enough, 10 minutes later, a powerful pressure descended from the sky. I tensed up all over and instinctively stood up from the ground. I saw a figure crash down onto the grass with a boom. This man's name was Su Weidong. He was nearly 6.5 feet tall, with an extremely muscular build. He was a general among divine warriors. It turns out that 3 years ago, humanity discovered a way to absorb supernatural energy to cultivate, and so a profession called warrior appeared in every country. Only after genius warriors fought desperately against the mutant beasts did humanity barely manage to stabilize the situation. Uncle Su, Ziran, it's really you. Professor Li, looks like you're not in any danger. Where's the beast? I quickly analyzed their conversation in my mind. So this is the higher-up the old man called. That response time was way too fast. And being able to quickly summon an expert at this level means the old man has some serious pull too. At that moment, I keenly realized this was my chance. A warrior of this level must be a high-ranking divine officer. If I can show my potential in front of him, getting a government job is definitely no problem. Weidong, he's right behind you. Su Weidong looked behind him, his eyes full of confusion. This is the dragon the professor was talking about. Didn't you tell me it was a once in a millennium ancient divine beast? This is clearly just a little snake barely over 3 feet long. Then a rumbling sound came, and a line of armored vehicles actually stopped outside the courtyard. General, the combat squad is in position. No mutant beasts detected yet. Signal complete. Pull your people out. There's nothing going on. Roger that. The armored vehicles that had just driven in quickly drove away from the residential area. Only then did I realize something was wrong. These people didn't see any value in me. But then again, I guess that makes sense. They don't know I have the bloodline of the ancestral dragon. It looks like I have to show some real skill. So I felt the flow of power within me. With one burst of energy, my entire body leapt into the air, slowly hovering in midair. Su Weidong's eyes flew wide open at the sight. Levitation ability. You see? Levitation is a high-level superpower, aside from those with wings. Any beast that can control levitation is at least level 7 or higher. This can't really be a dragon, can it? Su Weidong started to sweat a little. Behind him, Li Jianzhang's eyes lit up even more. A dragon. This is a dragon, and not just any dragon. This is the ancestral dragon from our Shengsha legends. Look at the shape of it. Here, the dragon's arms and whiskers, the dragon claws. This is our Shengsha dragon. If we can nurture it carefully, it can definitely grow into a powerful beast, or even a divine beast. This is our hope against the mythical giant beasts. This is the hope of our Shengsha. Li Jianzhang's expression grew more and more exciting. As Shengsha's most authoritative scholar on beasts, seeing the ancestral dragon appear today, he felt he had to seize this opportunity to win a future for humanity. Professor Li, I admit this creature is truly remarkable. But right now, the military's martial god project is fully underway. We don't have the time or resources to invest in other research. Su Weidong's face darkened, because Li Jianzhang had proposed a plan to raise beasts to fight off invasions before the dancers appear. At that time, humanity's conventional weapons were already stretched thin against powerful beasts. So, the beast cultivation project received massive national resources, and it performed well in the early stages. However, an accident caused the beasts to go out of control. Half of the experimental base was destroyed. Not only did the national investment go down the drain, but many elite scholars were also lost. And now, high-level dancers have become the new nuclear weapons of the era. The whole world is in an arms race, centered around training dancers. Shengsha was already late to the game in training dancers. The number of high-level dancers doesn't compare to other powers. Last year, during the invasion of the mythical giant beasts in the South China Sea, Shengsha lost its two strongest level 9 fighters. The nation's strength was severely crippled. To fill the gap in high-level dancers, the military quickly launched the Martial God Project. You could say they've poured all their resources into it. At a time like this, asking them to spare the effort to raise a creature less than a meter long, it's almost impossible. Professor Li, I'll help you fight for a lab. But until then, you'll have to raise this creature on your own. Only if the military sees its potential will they possibly support the project. Li Jianzhang pondered for a moment, then nodded solemnly. He knew this was the best he could hope for right now. I believe in the ancestral dragon. It will definitely show tremendous potential. Good. I hope to see you back in the lab one day, Professor Li. I'll send someone to fix the lawn. I'll take my leave. Clearly, my display of ability just now didn't impress him. Li Jianzhang beside me stared at me intently. His gaze was sharp. Ancestor, trust me. Li Jianyi, will sell everything I own to raise you up. Even without a lab, we can make it work. I will make the military see your potential. Little one, Ziran, bring the 2 fish from the tank. We're taking the ancestor home, Li Jianzhang called out, and sprang into action with great energy. An hour later, Li Jianzhang and his eldest granddaughter were in the dining room, the floor covered with food, from all kinds of snacks to fish and beef. A dazzling array. Standing to the side, I swallowed hard. I charged right in, devouring everything in a frenzy. System notifications kept popping up. After clearing 2/3 of the food on the floor, I finally felt full. My purification value is now at 6 points. I still need for more points for the first purification. Even though I wanted to keep eating. Even though I still want to keep eating. But after being full, the evolution value no longer seemed to increase with eating. At the same time, Li Jianzhang stood by, constantly observing, from the type of food I chose, to my eating speed and amount, as well as the changes in my body's growth. He recorded everything in detail. What surprised Li Jianzhang the most was that in just a short time of growth, within 1 hour, my body actually grew nearly 20 centimeters as I ate. Having studied strange beasts for years, he had never seen such an exaggerated growth rate. This made him even more certain that the ancestral dragon before him was no ordinary beast. After the feeding session ended, Li Jianzhang and his eldest granddaughter tried to talk to me again. Hello? Hello? Watching these people waving their hands in front of me, I felt a bit amused and exasperated. Now, although I can't speak human language, I can communicate directly with living beings through thought. After a flash of thought, a message appeared directly in Li Jianzhang's mind. I can understand what you're saying. Li Jianzhang was startled, but quickly realized it was me speaking. Telepathy. This isn't a Chinese divine dragon. What is this? Then I conveyed my needs to him. Tomorrow, I will evolve. but I need to devour a complete living creature, and I can also obtain that creature's strongest innate ability. Li Jianzheng got excited after hearing this. The Gold and Silver Plan. The Gold and Silver Plan. Is this the power of a mythical creature? He was so excited he slapped his thigh. You see, although evolved beasts are powerful, they mostly just enhance their own original genes and innate talents. For example, a cheetah that evolves into a Jiduyishen mostly gets a huge boost in speed and agility. An elephant gets improvements in skin thickness and weight. A crocodile gets a further boost in bite force. But I can actually obtain other creatures' talents through devouring. At this rate, I'm afraid I could grow into a flawless ultimate creature. Thoughts turned wildly in Li Jianzheng's mind. What should I choose for the first evolution? Talent, ability, strength, defense, speed. The first evolution is the foundation of foundations. I must choose carefully. After thinking it over, Li Jianzheng set his sights on combat ability. After all, I need to show potential in combat to possibly catch the attention of the authorities. After deciding on a strength talent, the second task was to choose the creature to devour. From a genetic talent perspective, insects are the most extreme creatures in the world. An ordinary ant can lift an object dozens of times its own weight. A flea can instantly jump 200 times the length of its own body. Li Jianzheng quickly searched out the insect species with the strongest strength talent, which is the double-forked rhinoceros beetle under the scarab family, commonly known as the unicorn beetle. It can lift an object 850 times its own weight. 850 times. Li Jianzheng's recommendation shocked me. Without any hesitation, I immediately agreed with him. As night fell, Li Anren took her younger sister Li Zhenzhen out shopping, while Li Jianzheng contacted an old friend for a unicorn beetle, and I lay comfortably on the floor watching TV. Chuan Shu Bathing discovered high-wall beast crystals. Materials science may achieve a major breakthrough. The third national dancer competition concluded. The top 10 dancers average age 23. These are the new batch of genius dancers under Shengsha. Britain, along with multiple countries, pressures Shengsha again, demanding the opening of the South China Sea area. The Foreign Ministry spokesperson issued a stern condemnation. After watching a few news and science channels, I gained a better understanding of Shengsha's current situation. In 5 years, 5 mythical giant beasts have invaded, with 2 landing within Shengsha's territory. The first landed in Chuanshu, the second in the South China Sea. While these 2 giant beasts caused massive destruction, they also made Shengsha one of the countries with the richest cultivation resources in the world today, because the arrival of giant beasts creates super large rifts, causing a massive surge of supernatural energy for cultivation to form a shower in the surrounding area. At the same time, it also harbors the most powerful alien beasts for dancers who need to absorb energy and hone their skills through combat. The shower is undoubtedly the best training ground. The reason Shengsha was able to deploy 3 9th-rank Supreme Martial Saints in the 5th battle was thanks to the blessing of the Chuanshu Shower. But when the 5th invasion was first detected, occurring in the South China Sea, Shengsha immediately requested assistance from neighboring countries, yet they all chose to ignore it. In the end, Shengsha paid the price of the entire South China Sea fleet and 2 9th-rank Martial Saints just to stop the giant beast's advance. This caused Shengsha, which was originally in the top tier of overall strength, to rapidly fall to the 3rd tier. However, afterward, led by the British General State, countries like Yunnan, the Philippines, and Sakala, which had contributed nothing, all jumped out, and, under the pretext of a shared destiny for humanity, demanded that Shengsha open up the South China Sea. Watching these news reports, I felt nothing but rage boiling inside me. I believe that in the near future, I will surely make them grovel. Meanwhile, Li Jianzheng dialed his friend's phone. On the other end was one of Shengsha's top 10 entomologists, whose home housed a collection of many rare insects. Old Li. I was almost asleep. Why are you calling? I need your help urgently. Do you have any double-horned rhinoceros beetles? I need them by tomorrow. Oh, what wind blew you here? You're actually interested in bugs now. I happen to have a pair I raised myself. If you like them, I'll give them to you. That's great. I'll come over first thing tomorrow. Okay. Then I'll have someone bring them to you tomorrow. I can also tell you more about them. How about it? No need. I'll treat you to tea another time. Li Jianzheng hung up the phone immediately, already planning the preparation plan for tomorrow's formal evolution. In his mind, the next day at noon, a large pile of food was laid out on the ground. As I devoured it in big mouthfuls, the evolution panel began to flash continuously. You have gained 1 evolution point through eating. Mentally confirm a creature and devour it to obtain one of its talent abilities and complete the evolution. Seeing that the evolution points were maxed out, I then looked up to signal. Li Jianzheng took out from a small box the stag beetle, sponsored by his old friend, and placed it on the ground. In an instant, I swallowed it into my stomach. Immediately, the cells inside my body began to frantically split, and half an hour later, the evolution ended. My appearance had also undergone a huge change. My dragon head became sharper. My tail was as hard as a serrated blade, and I had grown sturdy limbs. Then I called up the system panel to check my current specific attributes. I was then surprised to find that I had not only evolved from a young dragon into a 4-clawed white dragon, but also gained the talent of innate divine strength. Awesome, awesome. In just half an hour, I actually completed an evolution at the genetic level. This is simply a miracle of biology. A miracle of life. Innate divine strength is incredible. The only pity is that I don't have a lab yet, so I can't determine exactly how much improvement the dragon has gained. When I started feeding again after the evolution, Li Jianzheng stood to the side, recording my eating behavior before and after the evolution. To infer the rate of enhancement, gained 1 evolution point through eating. Body length increased by 4 centimeters. After eating my fill, the evolution points stopped at 16. Counting the points before the evolution, I got a total of 10 evolution points today. It seems that after the evolution, my appetite has also increased. At the same time, the growth rate brought by the evolution points has also gone from 3 centimeters to 4 centimeters. At this rate, my growth speed will only get faster and faster, more and more terrifying. So I was no longer satisfied with eating dead meat. I wanted to hunt for myself. After expressing my thoughts to Li Jianzheng, he immediately took action. After carefully analyzing my current abilities, he felt that I could indeed try fighting. In my opinion, the safest plan is to get a batch of long-lived fish we know well, to pave the way for Zulan's growth. Then Li Jianzheng thought of an old friend of his. He's an expert in ichthyology and freshwater art. And recently, he's been doing large-scale farming of freshwater fish art. Not far from the outskirts, there's one of his experimental lakes, Yanda. Li Jianzheng directly called his old friend. Old man, are you busy lately? At the lab or at home? Old Li, what made you think to call me? Don't even mention it. The South Sea spirit fish brought back a bunch of new species again. I've been up to my ears in work these days. That busy, huh? What about the Xian Lake you set up yourself? What can I do? I'll have a few young colleagues keep an eye on it. Going up there so late? Well then, since you're worried about Xian Lake, I'll go to your place. If you're free, you can go fishing. Go ahead if you want. I'll give a heads up later. It'll be fine. Thanks. I'll treat you to tea another day. Li Jianzheng hung up the phone excitedly. He immediately started planning the route for tomorrow. This was Zulan's first real battle. I couldn't wait to see how he would perform. The next day, Li Jianzheng drove, taking me and his 2 granddaughters straight to the experimental lake. After arriving, Li Jianzheng tied a camera around my neck to observe my activities underwater. Today is mainly for testing. If you encounter danger, you must come up immediately. Li Jianzheng gave me his final instructions, although the lake was full of low-level mutated fish. After all this time cultivating them, you never know what might show up. As soon as he finished speaking, I excitedly leapt into the water. Even though it was my first time in the water, I could easily dart through it with just a casual flick of my body. This was my innate water element talent. Then I first got used to the surface of the lake. Next, following Li Jianzheng's suggestion, I slowly pushed deeper. Looking around, the deeper the lake, the bigger the fish. For safety reasons, I definitely couldn't dive straight to the bottom. While swimming about 3 meters below the surface, I encountered the first course of my buffet. A mutated silver carp about half a meter long. Its body was bloated, staring with a pair of big eyes. I immediately locked onto the target. My body shot out like an arrow, my mouth wide open, and with one bite, I crushed its skull. I completed my first kill. I tore into the silver carp's carcass, swallowing it, bones and all, into my stomach. Then I picked up speed and started searching the lake again. On the shore, Li Jianzheng watched the entire hunt through the live feed. Whether it was explosive power or precision in striking vital points, Zulong had done almost perfectly, and according to a rough estimate, Zulong only used 1/10 of his muscle strength. He hadn't even used his full power. Perfect. This is a born hunter, Li Jianzheng shouted excitedly. The two girls sitting nearby clapped along with Li Jianzheng's cheers. Compared to the boring feeding of the past few days, today's task was clearly much more appealing. The older sister, Li Anren, helped her grandfather record the data, while the younger sister, Li Zhenzhen, fanned vigorously on the side. Time flew by, however. Just as Li Jianzheng and his granddaughters finished lunch, something suddenly appeared abnormal on the monitor. I have ancestors too. Li Jianzheng slapped his thigh after reading it. He bolted out the door. Grandpa, you to stay here. Li Anren turned to look at the monitor. There, in the lake, was the ancestral dragon. It was pulling something like a fish hook with its claws. Li Anren's eyes went wide. On the other side, I spent the entire morning underwater, in the 0 to 3 meter zone, working like crazy. Those mutated fish, the smallest 10 centimeters, the biggest nearly a meter. One bite, one fish. You gain 2 purification points by eating. Body length increased by 4 centimeters. Purification points, 24 out of 50. Gradually, I realized my control over my body was also getting stronger. At the same time, I noticed, yesterday I got 10 purification points, and that was already my limit. Today I got 8 points, and I'm still far from full. This means mutated fish provide more evolution points than regular fish, so I decided to go deeper. But just as I was about to dive down, I suddenly noticed someone on the shore was throwing bait into the water by the handful. They were chatting and laughing, bragging about the big fish they'd caught before, several meters long. Hearing that, I decided to have some fun with them, so I flicked my tail and rushed over quickly. No one's going to come after you for fishing here. The sun's at its strongest now. Security won't come out. Let me fish. 2 hours, no problem. I've been here plenty of times. This lake is stocked with lots of mutated fish. Every single one is terrifyingly big. Ha! Last week I caught one that was 80 centimeters. Almost snapped my rod. Look, this one right here, caught right in this lake. That one is really big. Damn, no wonder it's a mutated fish. That's nothing. I bet this lake has way bigger ones than this. Hey ha ha ha. Today I brought the best rod. I'm not stopping until I catch one over a meter. Oh, look, it's biting already today. This pull, at least a meter. Watch me reel this one in good. But just as the tall guy started recording on his phone, he saw the short guy fly into the lake, rod and all. The camera panned over, and there on the lake surface, something like a horse, a creature sped by. Swim fast, there's a monster behind you. But the short guy barely swam to strokes before he felt a violent pull and was slammed unconscious. Damn. A water ghost got him. A water ghost got him. By the time Li Jianzheng arrived at the scene, all he saw was fishing gear scattered everywhere, and messy footprints. From the looks of it, the ancestral dragon scared them off. The old ancestor is great in every way, but he's too playful. Li Jianzheng thought to himself, and this kind of national treasure must be kept secret from the very start. Now all I can hope is that they didn't get a clear video. Otherwise, keeping it under wraps will be tough. Meanwhile, underwater, I didn't share Li Jianzheng's worries. Now I've dived into the 3 to 5 meter zone, and my training in the previous layer gave me a sense of my combat strength. So only enemies more than twice my size are worth paying attention to. Soon I spotted a white fish with a turned-up mouth, over 1.5 meters long. Even though this size in this experimental lake is at the very bottom of the food chain, in my eyes, it's just a tastier plate of sashimi. After locking onto the target, I flicked my tail and slowly approached. The fish felt uneasy and instinctively tried to flee, but I was one step ahead. Realizing it couldn't escape, The white fish turned and charged straight at me. Seeing this, I sidestepped to dodge. Its front claws stabbed straight into his gill cover from the flank. Then its hind claws also sank into the white fish's back. After steadying my stance, I opened my mouth and crushed its skull. One hit. Instant kill. You gain 2 evolution points by feeding. Body length increased by 4 centimeters. Evolution points. 28 out of 50. Soon, a feeling of fullness set in. The evolution point gain has reached its limit. You gained a total of 12 evolution points today. That's 2 more than yesterday's 10 points. At this rate, I should be able to evolve again the day after tomorrow. Originally, Li Jianzheng was worried that Zulon might just be an auspicious sign, with no combat ability. But after today's observation, I have no concerns about my fighting skills at all. After returning home and having a simple dinner, Li Jianzheng dragged me into an hour-long ideological education session. The lesson was about the importance of secrecy and how to implement proper security measures. While I was in class, Li Jianzheng hid off to the side, snickering with glee. Although a video of a giant creature in the lake from that night went viral on a fishing forum, because the video was very blurry, it didn't spread widely. Early the next morning, Li Jianzheng brought one dragon ant to people back to the experiment. Today, he had given his old friend a heads-up in advance, strengthening the experiment. With the lake under control, I entered the water again, heading straight to the 3 to 5 meter zone. Soon, the evolution points reached 32. My body length had also grown to 2.18 meters. Today's goal was to unlock the area and achieve the second evolution by tomorrow. The boost from the first strength evolution was clearly visible. What powerful ability would I gain from the second one? Just as I was daydreaming, I suddenly ran head-on into 2-meter-long appetizers. So I charged out with a splash, using my strength to kill one of the fish instantly. Then, holding the first fish's corpse with my hind claws, I strolled along leisurely, following behind the fleeing shadowfish. Just as that fish thought it had escaped danger, sharp claws struck fiercely from above, and with a blow, I shattered its head. Brain matter mixed with blood scattered everywhere. But just as I was enjoying my appetizer, I suddenly felt a fierce gaze flash past me. In the murky waters below, something had glanced at me. It was no pushover. It seemed there was a true powerhouse hiding at the bottom of the lake. To conquer this experimental lake, I was probably in for a tough fight. After eating the 2 fish, I dove straight deeper, entering the final checkpoint of this water area, the lakebed zone. By now, I had descended to the experimental lake's bottom. Searching around, I soon found that mutant bigmouth catfish, over 3 meters long. It looked like a small submarine. Yet, seeing this fish that could bite off half my body in one gulp, what surged in my heart wasn't fear, but excitement. And I was really looking forward to fighting this giant. But this bigmouth catfish was different from other mutant fish. Its mouth clearly had a strong offensive capability. The safest strategy now was to grow to the same size, or even evolve before coming back for it. So I turned around and left. I searched the lakebed area for other targets, and in my mind, I tentatively marked that bigmouth catfish as the final boss of the experimental lake. I hunted a few fish around 1.5 meters long, and soon the evolution point gain reached its limit. Only 8 points left until the next evolution. You gain 2.9 evolution points by feeding. Body length increased by 4 centimeters. Evolution points, 42 out of 50. Meanwhile, on the shore, Li Jianzheng, seeing me move away from the bigmouth catfish, breathed a sigh of relief. If a fight broke out with something like that, the outcome really was uncertain. But just as I left the bigmouth catfish's territory, a doubt still appeared in Li Jianzheng's mind. Zulong's body length was over 2 meters, and he could unleash 10 times his body weight in strength. In theory, there's no problem taking on this big-mouthed creature. But why is he so worried? Could it be defense? It must be that Zulong's defense isn't strong enough yet. As a glass cannon focused on attack power, when facing opponents with weak offensive capabilities, there's naturally no pressure. But this big mouth has a giant maw, nearly a meter wide, and its body is covered in hard bone spikes. If it gets hit during a close fight, the consequences would be unimaginable. So, being strong in both offense and defense is true power. That evening, Li Jianzheng confirmed with me the direction of defense evolution. After all, Once defense is high enough, offense becomes more flexible too, without the fear of getting hurt holding you back. For the defense attribute, Li Jianzhen, along with a bunch of experimental data, selected 3 species. They were the water bear, the ironclad beetle, and the mutated horned abundant snail. The water bear is the hardiest creature, able to survive in all kinds of extreme environments, but survivability doesn't help in combat, and Zulan probably won't face any extreme environments anytime soon. The ironclad beetle is the most pressure-resistant creature, though it can withstand 40,000 times its own body weight. Its strength lies in its shell structure. Its hardness isn't that impressive, just like how something as fragile as an eggshell can bear heavy loads through its structure. The last one, the mutated horned abundant snail, was discovered in the South China Sea by Bai Lingyu as a mutated creature. It has the hardest shell in the biological world, able to withstand large-caliber human weapons, and is immune to high temperatures, strong acids, and other extreme conditions. After being mutated by supernatural energy, its shell was further strengthened, allowing it to adapt to its environment. In terms of defense, the mutated horned abundant snail is undoubtedly the best choice. After confirming the chosen creature with me, Li Jianzhen, as usual, called up his old friend. Old Meng, I need another favor. Old Li, how's the fishing been these past couple of days? You didn't catch all the fish, did you? Not much, really. These fish are slippery, haha. That just means your skills aren't up to par. When I'm done here, I'll come back and teach you. After a bit of small talk, Li Jianzhen steered the conversation to the horned abundant snail. What do you need the horned snail for? Old Meng was a bit puzzled. The horned abundant snail has strict living conditions. It can only survive in specific, synthetic ecosystems. It also depends on symbiotic bacteria and some very special conditions. It won't live long outside a lab. Lately, I've been doing a little research, just a hobby since retirement. You really can't stay out of trouble even in retirement. I do have some in my lab, but if you take them out, they won't last. No problem. Can you get them tomorrow? I'll treat you to tea another day. After hanging up, Li Jianzhen let out a long sigh. The materials for the second evolution were finally in hand. Now it's just about seeing what talents Zulan will get tomorrow. The next morning, I obtained the last piece in the experimental lake. As for the purification paper, Li Jianzhen received from Old Meng a discreetly shipped package, the horned abundant snail. Then we went to a hidden grove by the lake. While Li Jianzhen had his 2 granddaughters keep watch, he began my second evolution. Li Jianzhen carefully opened the culture box. Inside were 3 mutated horned abundant snails, each the size of a human thumb. Then I grabbed them and tossed them into my mouth, chewing them like popcorn. But the 3 snails rolled around in my mouth a few times, nearly chipping my teeth. No wonder they're the hardest creatures. So I just swallowed the snails whole. As the mutated horned snails were digested, a wild, scorching surge, like a flash flood, began rampaging through my meridians and blood vessels. Where it flows, the cells in my body begin to frantically divide and multiply again, growing even stronger. Half an hour later, the evolution is complete. I feel like I've turned into an iron fortress, so I can't wait to pull up the panel and check out the abilities I've gained this time. Host: Zulan, Armored Black Dragon, Ancient Ancestral Dragon Bloodline, a legendary creature with the bloodline of the Ancestral Dragon, capable of continuous evolution, eventually becoming a mythical being. Body length: 2.9 meters. Abilities: Innate Divine Strength, Absolute Defense, Silver Armor and Body Keratin Tissues are enhanced. After reading the panel, I'm overjoyed. The ability activated this time is Absolute Defense, which can grant up to 1,000 times the hardness of my own body weight. As I continue to evolve and grow, my defense will multiply exponentially, and the power of the Innate Divine Strength ability has increased from 10 times to 20 times. The transformation brought by this evolution is just insane. Li Jian beside me is just as excited. The previous Jade White Ancestral Dragon gave off an auspicious vibe. I never thought the Ancestral Dragon, after its second evolution, would look like a terrifying monster. Li Jianzhen only took one look at me and shrank behind her sister, muttering, "So scary, so scary." Lianren also instinctively felt afraid, only able to tell from my eyes that this was still the ancestral dragon she knew. Li Jian ignored his granddaughter's reactions and directly told me to go into the water, ready to start the practical combat test. Then, I leapt into the lake. This time, no hesitation, no adjustment. I headed straight for the murkiest, most dangerous waters at the bottom of the lake. As soon as I reached the lake bed, a 2-meter-long bighead snub-nosed fish came into view. I swung my tail fin and shot out like a cannonball. The big-head snub-nosed fish sensed danger and instinctively tried to escape. But the next moment, my sharp claws pierced straight through its hard skull. You see, the big-head snub-nosed fish is the type of mutated fish with the strongest defense in these waters. Their skulls are exceptionally hard, capable of both defense and offense. Before, when I hunted big-head snub-nosed fish, I had to be careful to dodge. But after the second evolution, in my eyes, this thing is nothing but a tiny shrimp. After taking care of the snub-nosed fish, I went by memory back into the territory of the mutated big-mouth fish. Before long, the mutated big-mouth fish lurking at the bottom of the lake appeared in my sight. Seeing this, a sharp glint flashed in my eyes, and all the blood in my body began to stir. In an instant, I swung my tail fin, pushed off with all 4 limbs, and charged straight forward. The big-mouth fish sensed the threat, and suddenly opened its meter-wide mouth like an abyss, trying to swallow the enemy charging at it whole. But I dug my front claws deep into the big-mouth fish's upper jaw, then deliberately stuck my hind claws and tail fin into its mouth. The big-mouth fish thought it had caught me and snapped its mouth shut, biting down hard. But what awaited it wasn't the blood of its prey, but countless shattered fine teeth. Then, I seized the moment and pushed with both front and hind claws at once. My front claws tore into the big-mouth fish's upper jaw in a frenzy, piercing its skull again and again. My hind claws thrashed wildly inside its mouth, shredding its fine teeth. Gills, every structure was torn apart. As time passed, the big-mouth fish gradually stopped struggling, and I began to devour. Dispose of victory. You have gained 2 evolution points by feeding. You have gained 2 evolution points by feeding. Body length increased by 5 centimeters. Evolution progress, 262%. Soon, I finished gathering today's evolution points in the lakebed area. As I keep evolving, every time I gain evolution points now, my body length increases by 5 centimeters. On the shore, Li Jian's mouth hung open as he watched the entire battle. To boost the second evolution gave the ancestral dragon is terrifying. This was a completely one-sided fight, an absolute conquest at the genetic level. In just 3 days, the ancestral dragon has already dominated this body of water. What incredible potential! I don't think it's just a simple mutation. Based on the combat power the ancestral dragon has shown, even a beast of the same size might not be its match. The experimental lake can no longer contain the ancestral dragon. It needs a bigger stage. It's time to contact the military again. At this moment, inside the Imperial Capital Warrior Training Center, a group of high-ranking military officers are watching the battle between warriors and beasts. The goal is to select the 100 strongest warriors from 1,000 candidates in preparation for the next mythical beast invasion. Those who win their battles and perform exceptionally well will be allowed to consume the corresponding beast essence, thereby achieving a significant boost in their cultivation level. The overall director of the Martial God Project, Su Weidong, stands at the center of the conference room, scoring with a stern expression. That's all for today. Those with excellent scores will be taken to consume the beast blood essence. Those who fail will all be eliminated. After Su Weidong finished speaking, the feed on the big screen cut off. In its place, a series of urgent messages appeared. A research team from the Li Kingdom has crossed the Pacific Ocean and arrived in Dongjing. They are suspected of carrying out some kind of scientific mission. Countries like Gali and Yunnan are becoming increasingly active around the islands in the South Sea. Some Philippine vessels are disguised as fishing boats, entering the South Sea Spirit Domain. They are harvesting top-tier mutated plankton. The neighboring countries are already stirring. They are testing the limits of the God's domain step by step. Dispatch the Special Forces squads to the South Sea Islands. Disperse all vessels entering the South Sea Spirit Domain. Use of force is authorized. Inside the Weidong Island meeting hall, the generals looked grim, their faces showing reluctance. Using force would give them a reason to start a war. I'm afraid we're not ready for war yet. The enemy won't wait for us to be ready. If we cede 5% today, we'll have to cede 10% tomorrow. Concessions won't satisfy the enemy. They'll only make them greedier. Have the Ministry of Foreign Affairs make a statement. The God's domain does not permit any nation to enter the South Sea territory for any reason, even if it means war. We will resolutely defend our territorial sovereignty. This is far from the most difficult moment the God's domain has ever faced. If they want war, then we'll give them war. Su Weidong immediately drafted the South Sea Combat Plan. It passed with a 2/3 majority vote. The meeting adjourned. The generals left. Only Su Weidong remained in the hall as the military's supreme commander and the overall director of the Martial God Project. His burden was undoubtedly the heaviest. Just then, a private message arrived in his email. Su Weidong opened it to take a look. The sender was Li Jianzheng, whom he had met not long ago. Seeing this, he immediately became interested. After all, the appearance of that dragon a few days ago had been weighing on his mind. The email contained a series of detailed experiment reports. The subject of the report was precisely the dragon he had seen. As he quickly flipped through the report, Su Weidong's expression gradually shifted from curiosity to confusion, and finally to solemnity. Soon, an armored transport vehicle arrived at Li Jianzheng's doorstep. Meeting Su Weidong again, Li Jianzheng didn't waste any words. He directly led him into the yard. At a single glance, in the corner, a Zuolong over 3 meters in length was sound asleep. Su Weidong's pupils instantly contracted. His breathing became rapid. 5 days ago, this creature was less than a meter long. Now it was over 3 meters, and its entire body had undergone a transformation. While Su Weidong was observing, I suddenly woke up, because I sensed the presence of a powerful being. I jerked my head up. A fierce killing intent radiated from my body. Su Weidong's eyes sharpened. His anticipation grew even deeper. 5 days ago, this creature was a threat that even the beast detection device couldn't pick up, but now it has become a murderer whose killing intent I could feel. So this is a legendary creature. He can really communicate with humans, even though he can't speak. The ancestral dragon can transmit thoughts directly into our minds. Are you sure he won't harm humans? The ancestral dragon is a highly intelligent creature and has a great affinity for humans. My 2 granddaughters are the best proof. The ancestral dragon will never hurt me. Su Weidong looked at me, who was slightly wary. After a moment of thought, he spoke. I will apply for an independent project for the ancestral dragon, but he must pass the military's inspection. Hearing Su Weidong's words, Li Jianzheng's breathing became rapid. The ancestral dragon will show his potential. Su Weidong nodded and spoke through the earpiece. Send them to the vehicle. Then the military soldiers sealed off the area. An armored transport vehicle approached the courtyard. Under the guidance of several soldiers, I boarded the transport vehicle. But just as the soldiers were about to close the rear door, a shout came from behind. Big Dragon! They're taking Big Dragon away. I saw Li Jianzheng running out, with tears streaming down her face. I didn't expect this little one to be so attached to me. Haven't I bullied him enough? But Li Jianzheng didn't get far before the soldiers stopped her. You guys, you're bad people. Don't take Big Dragon away. Lianren pulled her sister back from behind, gently stroking her head to calm her down. Li Jianzheng stood behind his 2 granddaughters, his eyes slightly red. Seeing that he didn't intend to get on the vehicle, I suddenly remembered the story Li Jianzheng told. The alien beast experiment he led had once caused a serious accident, almost destroying the entire Shengsha research base. After that, he was stripped of all honorary titles and permanently banned from scientific research. Thinking of this, I rushed out of the vehicle without hesitation. The surrounding soldiers panicked and raised their guns. Su Weidong also unleashed the pressure of a high-level warrior. A powerful aura spread outward from him. No, and I, under the shocked and confused gaze of everyone, went up to Li Jianzheng and the 2 girls, grabbed the 2 sisters in one go, and wrapped my tail around Li Jianzheng, then calmly returned to the compartment, placed the 3 behind me. Only then did I lie down lazily. Seeing the bewildered soldiers outside the vehicle, I tapped the compartment with my claw to signal them to drive. The soldiers were dumbfounded. They all turned to look at Su Weidong, waiting for his decision. And Su Weidong, as a high-level warrior, is one of the top fighters on this planet. The pressure he unleashed could make any intermediate fighter within several kilometers flee in fear. But this ancestral dragon in front of him actually completely ignored that pressure. "Mr. Li, is there anything at home you need to bring? Let the soldiers help you pack it up." Hearing Su Weidong's words, Li Jianzheng was stunned for a moment, then nodded firmly. The military moved very quickly. In the morning, they transported the ancestral dragon from Li Jianzheng's residence. By the afternoon, they had organized a small meeting. Before the meeting began, Su Weidong roughly went over the ancestral dragon's file with everyone. During that time, a few commanders did show interest in the ancestral dragon's potential, but most were not impressed, because the scars left by that alien beast rampage were still deeply etched in everyone's minds. Are we going to repeat that tragedy? Humph, a mythical creature. How could it just appear so unremarkably? This is probably just some hybrid alien beast. Humph, what ancestral dragon? What mythical creature? This is all just Li Jianzheng's made-up lineage. He just wants to get back into the lab. The Martial God project is about to enter a critical phase. We shouldn't be distracted at a time like this. The commanders spoke one after another, pointing out all sorts of drawbacks of the ancestral dragon. Su Weidong calmly accepted all the doubts. After all, these concerns and worries were not unfounded. One afternoon, we spent an afternoon creating a simulated space for Zhu Longshen to test his abilities. If he can demonstrate the potential shown in the report, we'll approve a small lab for Li Jianzheng. Anyway, they'll be sent home. Seeing that the chief was about to speak, to fight for a chance for Li Jianzheng, the others couldn't refuse anymore. That afternoon, the simulated combat zone was a jungle. The simulation space was cleared out to test Zhu Lan's combat abilities. Considering Zhu Lan's strength, only first-tier alien beasts were left in the combat zone. And here's a detailed explanation of alien beast tier classification. Ever since the ancient mythical beasts descended, all life on Earth underwent evolutionary mutations. To assess their threat level, humans classified them based on physical parameters and their mastery of supernatural abilities, assigning them different tiers. Those invading ancient mythical beasts are the highest tier. They're called extinction-level alien beasts. Down to Tier 1 are the other alien beast levels. The mutated fish that fought Zhu Lan in the experimental lake don't even count as alien beasts. They're just mutated creatures. So compared to ordinary creatures, first-tier alien beasts have an incredibly terrifying boost in physical capabilities. At the same time, the 100-hectare small forest simulation space was ready. Drones were deployed one by one, and skies were activated. They would film the battle from every angle. However, aside from Su Weidong, not many officers were interested in the battle's outcome. Most of them just wanted to go through the motions, so they could legitimately reject the alien beast evolution. In the files, that creature only fought mutated fish. Now, facing a first-tier alien beast, can he handle it? Looking at their sizes, they're not even in the same league. Feels dangerous. Hope it doesn't end too fast. Otherwise, it's a complete waste of time. Watching this battle alongside the military officers was Li Jianzheng and a small group of young dancers. As Zhu Lan's guarantor and supervisor, Li Jianzheng was granted special permission to observe remotely. The new generation of dancers had never experienced an alien beast containment breach, so this sudden alien beast experiment only sparked their curiosity. An alien beast experiment? Haven't heard that term in years. I heard it's a dragon. A legendary mythical beast. Really? Would a legendary creature really appear so peacefully? I thought our martial god project was the core focus. Why is an alien beast experiment suddenly being thrown in? In times of crisis, the divine needs more possibilities. At the same time, I was sent into the simulation space. After spending the whole morning bouncing between places, without eating a thing, I was completely consumed by hunger. But based on Li Jianzheng's intel, I learned that the military had only deployed first-tier alien beasts for this experiment. They're stronger than mutated creatures, and possess some intelligence and combat skills, so I had to move cautiously. staying low to the ground, constantly hiding in the bushes. Soon, 3 giant alien wolves appeared in my sight. Each one was over 8 feet long and over 3 feet tall. Their muscles were clearly defined. Once they spotted me, they quickly spread out in 3 directions, forming an encirclement. A low wolf howl echoed. That was their prelude to attack. I instantly felt surrounded by a killing intent, but I didn't panic. Instead, I locked onto one direction and lunged forward at full speed. The best move right now was to reduce their numbers and break through the encirclement. The 3 giant wolves don't have a size advantage. This feels dangerous. Come on. His name is Zulong. Can't you have a little faith? Just a few giant wolves. Go, Zulong. I rushed through the bushes, speeding toward the giant wolf on the far left. Just as it leapt into the air, I sprang up from the ground. The giant wolf clearly didn't expect the prey's counterattack to be so swift. It wasn't ready to dodge at all. Then I extended my two pitch-black claws and drove them deep into the giant wolf's neck. The wolf, midair, let out a howl of agony. Its body quickly went limp and it died. Shortly after, the other 2 giant wolves charged at me without hesitation, still lunging first. One giant wolf saw this and immediately backed off to create distance, while the other circled around to the rear. It suddenly opened its massive jaws and bit down hard on my tail. But as soon as it bit down, the giant wolf howled in pain and recoiled as if shocked. It turned out its attack hadn't even left a scratch on me. Instead, it only hurt its own teeth. I completely ignored the one behind me, took 2 strides, then glided to catch up, and with one fierce swipe of my claw, the second giant wolf ended its life. The giant wolf behind me had no more will to fight. It let out a mournful howl and fled without looking back, but I didn't waste time chasing it. After piling the 2 giant wolf corpses together, I began enjoying my first lunch of the day. Inside the military meeting room, the lieutenant generals watched me easily take down 2 giant wolves, shock written all over their faces. In the observation room, the witnesses were incredibly excited. Hey, big dragon, go for it. Big dragon, go for it. Eating the gray wolf made Li Zhenzhen dance with Zhou Lianren. On the other hand, quietly assisted Li Jianzhang in recording data on the side, silently cheering me on in her heart. With my current appetite, 2 giant wolves were barely a snack, not even close to a full meal. So, driven by hunger, I started moving again. Through this battle, I gained an objective and rigorous judgment of my own skill level, which was that it was nothing special. So I strutted around, dashing everywhere, and my hunting speed improved significantly. All sorts of miscellaneous mutant beasts fell one by one under my claws. Ting. Detected host eating. Evolution points gained. +3. Evolution value. 277%. Evolution value is about to reach its limit. Just as I thought today's hunt was about to end, a giant wild boar appeared in my field of vision. It was 16 feet long, nearly 7 feet tall, with tusks that were incredibly sharp. From a distance, it looked almost like a small tank. And this was the giant tusk boar, the strongest first-tier creature in individual combat. Seeing this scene, the people in the observation room gasped in shock. The military actually let a giant tusk boar in here. It's the strongest first-tier mutant beast. The giant tusk boar is famous for being strong in both offense and defense. This might be tough to handle. Finally, something worth fighting has shown up. Exciting, so exciting. The young warriors all got hyped up. Everyone wanted to see a clash of titans. Inside the military meeting room, the generals also felt a sense of anticipation. At that moment, they completely forgot about this morning, when they had refused the mutant beast experiment. They only wanted to know how much potential Zulon still had, and what kind of power he could unleash. The giant tusk boar's defense and offense are both the strongest among first-tier creatures. I wonder how Zulong will handle this. Will Zulong's claws still work this time? The giant tusk boar's bristles can stop bullets. He also needs to be careful on the defensive end. Their sizes are several orders of magnitude apart. I hope Zulong doesn't get hurt. Feels like this level is way too much. Su Weidong's gaze turned sharp as he stared intently at Zulong's movements on the screen. Fighting a strong opponent is the best time to test combat potential. If Zulong can take down even the giant tusk boar, then I'll give him the green light directly. Go for it. Go for it. Lianren, along with Li Zhenzhen, quietly cheered Zulong on. At the same time, after observing for a while, I suddenly burst out from the bushes. The giant wild boar also noticed my presence, immediately turned around, lowered its head, and let out a deep, guttural roar. The next moment, the giant wild boar charged. As it ran, the ground began to tremble slightly. When the distance between us closed to 10 meters, I exerted all my strength. My limbs, with muscles compressed to the limit, exploded with power. A tremendous force, combined with my flight ability, launched me into the air. At the moment of takeoff, I pushed off a giant tree for an extra boost. My body shot forward like a cannonball. My claws aimed directly at the giant wild boar's head. The giant wild boar, without dodging or avoiding, charged straight at me. It had full confidence in its own ramming power. Seeing this, I unleashed a force 20 times my body weight. My claws pierced through the boar's thick brown bristles and sank into its skull. The next moment, a massive impact hit me. My body shuddered violently. You have to understand, this giant wild boar weighed over 10 tons. You can imagine the power of its full-speed charge. But when the force struck, I only felt that power being transmitted through my scale armor in an instant to every part of my body's surface. It was no longer enough to cause me any harm. This is absolute defense. After withstanding the impact, I attacked wildly with alternating claws. The boar shook its head violently, trying to throw me off, but it was useless. So, unable to bear the intense pain, it rammed straight into a giant tree. With a loud crash, the giant tree was snapped in half. The boar's skull also cracked and deformed. But I, caught between the two, was completely unharmed. Its last resistance failed. The giant wild boar collapsed under my assault. In the observation room, the young dancers erupted with enthusiastic cheers. Awesome! Zulong is awesome. So cool. So satisfying. This is real combat. Effortless. Even the giant wild boar got beaten like this. Is Zulong really a mythical creature? In the military meeting room, the generals also showed disbelief in their eyes. He really maxed it out. Both offense and defense are flawless. His potential is indeed very strong. At least at the first tier B stage, Zulong is the absolute king. Zulong is Zulong. I knew it. I've had my eye on him from the start. Old man, can you keep it together? You were the one who rejected him the hardest before. Just as the generals were discussing, Su Weidong cut the feed. He adjusted the meeting room's classification to a confidential meeting level. Everyone, Zulong's demonstration is about done. Now it's time for us to make a decision. Whether to set up a dedicated lab for Li Jianzheng and Zulong, and allocate resources to them. Please vote by a show of hands. Su Weidong's words made the meeting room fall silent again. Everyone sank into thought, weighing the pros and cons. Zulong's combat ability and potential were undeniable. If they could really succeed in nurturing him, he would definitely become a strategic level weapon under the gods. But today, Zulong had almost devoured all the first-tier beasts that the military had deployed. What an astonishing appetite! And he's only at the 3-meter stage now. As he continues to grow in the future, his appetite will increase as well. When he grows to 10 meters, dozens of meters, or even 100 meters, how many resources will the military have to invest then? Yet, after investing resources, how will Zulong perform? What exactly is his growth ceiling? No one can guarantee that. Secondly, there's the issue of Zulong's safety. The damage from the Yishu incident is still fresh in our minds. If Zulong really grows into a giant beast capable of destroying heaven and earth, then how will the gods manage him? As everyone hesitated, Su Weidong spoke up first. His gaze was firm, his tone calm. I know the Zulong project has many risks, but this is the risk that pioneers must take. Ladies and gentlemen, war is approaching. Foreign enemies are still all around. The divine realm needs more possibilities, more hope. He slowly raised his hand to cast the first vote for the Ancestral Dragon project. I approve of the plan to nurture the Ancestral Dragon, and I volunteer to be the guarantor for this project. If the Ancestral Dragon project fails in the future, then I will take full responsibility. After Su Weidong finished speaking, the generals paused their thoughts and raised their hands one after another. 2/3 of the generals raised their hands in agreement. the Ancestral Dragon project passed the preliminary vote, so Su Weidong contacted Li Jianzhen to have this former expert in the field, now the head of the Ancestral Dragon project, come to the meeting room to personally participate in the customization of the Ancestral Dragon project. At that moment, inside the military meeting room, the group first used the data provided by Li Jianzhen to determine the Ancestral Dragon's living environment, strictly controlling the temperature, humidity, light intensity, flora material, sleep cycle, and so on, to ensure the Ancestral Dragon gets good rest. Next came the various instruments and devices used to test the Ancestral Dragon's abilities, to facilitate detailed observation of the Ancestral Dragon's growth progress. Then, regarding combat training, Li Jianzhen secured for the Ancestral Dragon 2 simulated combat zones, 1 forest zone and 1 shallow water zone. But a disagreement arose over the supervision of the Ancestral Dragon. From the military's perspective, they hoped to achieve 100% control over the Ancestral Dragon. To this, Li Jianzhen firmly said no, and rejected any act of controlling the Ancestral Dragon. Professor Li, you should look at it from the military's perspective. The Ancestral Dragon must accept control, right? Even if a nuclear bomb is incredibly powerful, if the controller isn't in our hands, it will be completely useless. Even ordinary trained beasts have control measures, let alone such a special being as the Ancestral Dragon. If he doesn't accept control, then we'll even have to forego one measurement. If he doesn't accept control, then the Ancestral Dragon project will be put on hold for now. The general spoke with stern tones, leaving no room for compromise. After the incident of the Yi Beast losing control, the military, due to the high threat from allies, would implement control measures for every single one. Specific measures involved implanting a miniature nuclear bomb in its heart. If there were signs of losing control, they would detonate it directly. Facing pressure from the military, Li Jianzhen did not yield. Generals, before this project begins, we must reach a consensus. The Ancestral Dragon is not an ordinary beast. He possesses consciousness just like us. He is not our tool, nor is he our weapon. He is our partner, a comrade fighting side by side. I ask everyone here, would you allow a comrade to implant a nuclear bomb into your own body? We must respect the Ancestral Dragon. Trust the Ancestral Dragon. Only then can we earn his respect. Under threat and supervision, there are no friends. Only by giving sincerity can we gain friendship. The meeting room fell into silence. The generals furrowed their brows. The Ancestral Dragon's existence is very special. We cannot use ordinary methods to control him. I suggest we postpone the control matter and prioritize launching the Ancestral Dragon project. As the guarantor of the Ancestral Dragon, if the Ancestral Dragon ever loses control in the future, I will do everything in my power to stop him, even if it costs me my life. As soon as Su Weidong spoke, the generals all showed troubled expressions, but after a long period of struggle, a few generals raised their hands first. I also volunteer to be a guarantor. If the Ancestral Dragon loses control, I share the responsibility. I agree. If he really loses control, we, the ones in charge, will fight him first. All the foundational aspects of the Zulong project have already been fully planned out. At the same time, I was sent to a simulation pod custom built for me. As soon as I entered, I felt my entire body relax. It seems the parameters in this area must have already been adjusted by Li Jianzhen, so I lay down on the cool ground covered in gravel, opened the panel, and checked today's growth host. Came out. Mid-grade black dragon, ancient ancestral dragon bloodline, a legendary creature with the ancestral dragon bloodline, capable of continuous evolution, eventually becoming a mythical creature. Body length, 3.6 meters, innate talent, supernatural strength, absolute defense, cloud riding and mist traveling, water element, clear river, cloud riding and mist traveling. You have initially mastered flight ability. Current flight duration is short. Water element, clear river, initial mastery, evolution points. Once full, evolution can proceed. After half a day of hunting, my evolution points have reached 86. My body length has also reached 3.6 meters. It seems the energy from lean meat beasts is richer than that of ordinary creatures. Eating the same amount of lean meat beast meat yields more evolution points. Just then, Li Jianzheng also arrived with his two granddaughters. Looking at Zulong resting behind the glass, and then at the rows of precision instruments before him, Li Jianzheng's eyes reddened. From this moment on, he had truly returned to the lab, returned to the battlefield of scientific research. He believed that in the future, Zulong would surely earn everyone's trust, becoming a god to rely on, and he would stay here to make up for the mistakes he had made in the past. Big Dragon! Big Dragon! Li Jianzheng knocked on the glass and shouted loudly. Sensing something, I suddenly opened my eyes and let out a roar. Li Jianzheng was so startled, she jumped, stumbling back several meters. Dad Dragon! Bad Dragon! Li Jianzheng burst into tears. Li Anren held her little sister to comfort her. Seeing this, I grinned. Ah, that felt good. Li Jianzheng was already used to our antics. After comforting her a bit, Li Jianzheng started discussing the breeding plan with me. After hearing my description of the effects of exotic beast flesh, Li Jianzheng quickly set tomorrow's goal. Since we have the resources now, we should slightly raise the level of the exotic beasts we release, ensuring Zulong can obtain higher quality food within a comfortable range, maximizing daily hunting efficiency. At dinner time, in the central cafeteria, two dancers, who had pushed their bodies to the limit after a full day of training, gathered there, wolfing down their food. Their meals were all freshly slaughtered low-grade exotic beasts, extremely nutritious. After the meal, dedicated staff came to the cafeteria and, based on everyone's performance, distributed the day's blood essence potions. Blood essence potions are concentrated blood essence from higher-grade lean beasts. Once injected into the body, they replace human blood, helping dancers rapidly advance their cultivation level. The side effect is that it places an enormous burden on the body, drastically shortening one's lifespan. This is the core of the Martial God Project, using lean beast blood essence to rapidly boost the combat power of a group of young dancers, trading these young people's futures for the future of the Divine Realm. Tier 5 Essence. Looks like I did pretty well today. I'm still on Tier 4. Though, hope I can get Tier 5 tomorrow, otherwise I'll fall behind. Hey, why aren't you guys getting your essence? They suddenly noticed that the dancers from District D hadn't stepped forward to claim their essence. Didn't train today. Took the whole afternoon off. You're from District D, right? Heard your training area was taken over this afternoon for some exotic beast breeding thing. The breeding experiment. The longevity breeding experiment. The one that had an accident a few years ago. Yeah. I heard this time it's a mythical bloodline creature. Sounds like it's some kind of dragon. That sounds so incredible. The loudest one. Tell us what happened this afternoon. Dozens of regional team members looked at each other awkwardly, not sure if they should say anything, with the other regional team members egging them on. Some young dancers, who wanted to show off, couldn't hold back anymore. With a loud slap, a guy jumped up onto the table, imitating the ancestral dragon with a pose. You guys definitely missed out if you didn't see it this afternoon. That was a real divine dragon. A few regional dancers passionately described the ancestral dragon's training process. It quickly sparked a heated discussion among everyone. It can withstand a charge from a giant wax boar. It grew a whole meter in one go. Are you kidding me? Hey haha, you think this is some kind of snake game? How could it be that exaggerated? Is this really a divine dragon? Feels like its potential is limitless. When's the next experiment? One want to see it too. Although most people thought they were exaggerating, but almost everyone developed a huge curiosity about this new thing. Hearing the nosy commotion from below, the generals dining upstairs looked helpless. Su Weidong shook his head and smiled. Young people, you know, young people, right? A little curiosity is normal. It's fine to spread it around the base. The Ancestral Dragon Project will have its public debut eventually. Remind them to wrap it up soon. Don't let it interfere with tonight's training. Early the next morning, at the regional simulated forest combat grounds, everything was already prepared for the Ancestral Dragon. The dancers who originally trained in this area had been reassigned to other grounds overnight to make way for the Ancestral Dragon Project. The Ancestral Dragon's meals for the day are also ready. Half were top-tier first-level exotic beasts, to ensure the Ancestral Dragon would be full. Additionally, various tiers of second-level beasts were arranged to test the Ancestral Dragon's current combat power. And today was the first official day of the Ancestral Dragon project. The Ancestral Dragon not only had to complete hunting tasks, but would also be evaluated by the expert panel. Unlike yesterday's confidential meeting room, the semicircular conference hall, in front of the main conference hall used for group meetings, generals at all levels and the expert panel would gather here every day to score the dancer's performance for the day. Su Weidong decided to partially disclose the Ancestral Dragon's existence. That's why the expert panel was brought in. After all, to ensure the stability of the Ancestral Dragon project, the military needed more perspectives, and Su Weidong not only wanted to observe the experts' reactions, but would also take their advice. Although the experts had no decision-making power, their opinions would influence the military's future investment in the Ancestral Dragon project. After the generals took their seats, experts from various research fields walked in from outside. Li Jianzheng also entered with the expert panel. Beside him was Old Men, who at once borrowed the experimental pot, and Old Lian, who had provided the purification material Beal. At that moment, the military had not yet announced the content of that morning's meeting. The two old friends were quite surprised to see Li Jianzheng appear. Well, you little rascal, have you been doing research behind our backs again? You're actually back at the base. Hey, why did you suddenly come back to the base? Oh wow. I was just saying I'd take a trip at the end of the month to go fishing with you. What are you doing here? Old Meng's eyes widened too, seeing his old comrade Li Jianzheng, who he'd fought alongside. He was overwhelmed with mixed emotions for a moment. He didn't say anything. He just patted both of them on the shoulder. Hey, you've gotten distant. Look at Old Meng pointing at the silent Li Jianzheng and laughing. Old Lian also chimed in with a joke. How's that beetle you asked me for last time doing? He asked you for things too. A few days ago, he asked me for neighbor snails. I went through a lot of trouble to get rid of them. Faced with their questions, Li Jianzheng smiled and said, not bad, all good. And the fish in your experimental lake got great reviews. It's not like eating takeout. What are you giving a good review for? Old Meng was confused. The two couldn't figure out what Li Jianzheng was talking about. After some small talk, the topic shifted to this morning's meeting. Usually, the morning meeting starts at 9 a.m. because that's when the dancers start their actual training. But today it started 2 hours early. Something urgent must have come up. Starting this early today ... Is there some special situation? I heard some rumors yesterday. They said it's about a mutant beast experiment. Something about a dragon. Old Lian lowered his voice. Hey ha ha ha. Old Lian, you're really losing it. No judgment at all. Last time, someone claimed they saw a dragon in my lake. I checked with Old Li later. It's completely impossible. Mutant beast experiments and dragons? Isn't that ridiculous? Old Meng asked Li Jianzheng with a smile. Li Jianzheng didn't respond. He just nodded slightly. Soon, Su Weidong signaled everyone to quiet down. Then he pointed a finger at Li Jianzheng. Let's welcome the head of the Ancestral Dragon Project, Professor Li Jianzheng, to speak. Old Meng's eyes shot wide open. What? What project? What project did he just say? He couldn't believe his ears. Li Jianzheng showed an apologetic expression as he walked to the podium. Just like in the previous briefing, Li Jianzheng gave the attendees a general overview of the Ancestral Dragon's information. At first, everyone had expressions of disbelief, but as the Ancestral Dragon's data grew richer and even included detailed videos, their doubt turned into shock. Shock that dragons really exist in the world. Hearing that Li Jianzheng was going to train a new team of mutant beast experts, just go ahead. If this really is the Ancestral Dragon, a mythical creature, what gives us the right to control it? Yeah. When it grows up, who knows if it'll be a friend or an enemy? This will be a real-life farmer and the snake. You, Li Jianzheng, got hurt once by a mutant beast, and you still haven't learned your lesson? Don't be so pessimistic. Professor Li has experience from his failure. I think he won't make the same mistake again. Where is his experience? He even refuses oversight measures. What if it really gets out of control? Li Jianzheng stood on the stage, calmly accepting the experts' debates. These experts were all survivors of that incident. Many of them lost colleagues or even family members in that accident. Li Jianzheng was willing to accept all questions and criticism. Everyone, Su Weidong interrupted the discussion. Arguing like this will go nowhere. It's time to bring out the ancestral dragon. We'll continue the discussion later. For now, please take a look at the creature in this experiment. I hope all of you can evaluate the ancestral dragon objectively from your own professional perspectives. Following Su Weidong's command, the big screen gradually lit up. The image showed the forest simulation battlefield in the Earth Zone. In the center stood a pitch-black dragon-shaped creature. The moment the ancestral dragon appeared, the meeting hall fell into silence. At that moment, they forgot their past pain. They forgot the threat of the mutant beasts. Their eyes were filled only with admiration for the ancestral dragon. So beautiful. Is this a real creature? This is the ancestral dragon. It really is different. Just from its appearance, it truly has the essence of a legendary creature. Then Su Weidong turned to the technicians in the back row. He waved his hand, signaling the opening of the Mutant Beast release channel. The ancestral dragon's first official combat began. The first official real combat for Zulan has begun. Li Witness returned to his seat and began to carefully record. Today, he would determine the most comfortable hunting range for the ancestral dragon. The experts in the observation seats held their breath. They planned to witness this myth firsthand. After the creature's abilities were prepared, I began today's hunting operation. After quickly sweeping through an area, a familiar howl rang out. It was a forest giant wolf, so I quickly locked onto the direction and rushed over. After getting closer, I discovered 4 giant wolves were encircling a spiked porcupine. The porcupine wasn't very large, only about 10 feet long, but its entire body was covered in sharp quills. The wolves circled around for a while, but couldn't find an opening to strike. One recklessly charged in and ended up with quills stuck all over itself. Seeing beasts fight for the first time, I suddenly became interested. I planned to hide in the bushes and watch the drama, but unexpectedly, the wolves seemed to sense my presence, and all turned to come after me. As for that wolf that got stuck with quills, whether it was confused or enraged, it charged headlong and ran straight into me in the bushes. The wolf wondered why its prey wasn't running, but I wondered why my meal was delivered so fast. Just as the wolf opened its mouth to bite me, I slapped down and crushed half its skull. The other 3 wolves arrived late, growling and spreading out in formation. As expected, the 3 wolves passed away peacefully. Then, I dragged the 4 wolf carcasses over to the spiked porcupine. The porcupine wasn't big to begin with, and half its size was just from its quills. Clearly, there wasn't much meat on it. I couldn't be bothered to deal with that kind of prey, so I just lay down to eat. But I didn't expect that spiked porcupine to roar and charge at me. Seriously. Man, there's a road to heaven you won't take, but you force your way into hell. I struck out with a slap, with enough force to crush a wolf's skull, but it didn't do real damage to the porcupine, only slightly deflecting its charge. Instead, I felt a slight sting in my palm. I was actually injured. It turns out the armor didn't cover its whole body. These special spots, like the joints, had weaker defenses. The porcupine charged again. I immediately leapt into the air to dodge. The porcupine didn't chase further, but grunted a few times in celebration, then lowered its head to eat the wolf meat. It was only then I noticed there was a carcass of a beast that had already been gnawed on. So it wasn't the wolves hunting the porcupine, but the porcupine stealing the wolves' food. It seemed this porcupine was actually the stronger fighter. Seeing this, rage erupted inside me. A fierce glint flashed in my eyes. I tensed every muscle and dropped down hard. The porcupine, sturdy and unafraid, didn't dodge, just aimed its back quills at me. It seemed very confident in its quills. I lowered my head and used the part covered in scales to smash hard into the porcupine. The quills shattered on contact with the scales. The massive impact also sent the porcupine flying. Seizing the moment, I slashed at its exposed belly, killing it instantly. Then I began to enjoy my prey. Suddenly, I felt a surge of energy, stronger than from the flesh and blood before. The energy from this porcupine's meat was even greater than from the wild boar yesterday. It seemed this was a second-tier beast. In the conference hall, the experts who had just watched the Ancestral Dragons fight looked stunned. This was the easiest fight they had ever seen. It wasn't even a fight, just a one-sided massacre. It was almost insane, a total domination. Even a second-tier early-stage spiked porcupine was killed instantly. Just how powerful was this creature? It didn't even have any supernatural abilities, and it just bulldozed through everything with its raw body. A friend of mine wants some dragon blood. Can you draw 2 vials of blood for me? My friend wants some dragon scales. Can you give me a few dragon scales? After the military officers saw the experts' reactions, they exchanged knowing smiles. They seemed to see their own reactions from yesterday in the experts. Li Jianzhang took note of the experts' reactions and felt excited about it. After all, the more support the Ancestral Dragon gets, the more resources he can invest, and the faster he will grow. But this battle was just an appetizer. The Ancestral Dragon's potential is far from fully shown. An important goal today is to measure the Ancestral Dragon's current strength. Looking at it now, the Ancestral Dragon is still easily crushing early second-stage mutant beasts. But what about mid-second stage, or even top-tier second-stage mutant beasts? Li Jianzhang's anticipation kept building. He hoped Zulan would show even more. After rampaging through the simulation zone, my evolution value also broke through the 100 mark. You gain 3 evolution points from eating. Body length increased by 5 centimeters. Evolution value 2101%. Body length has reached 3.85 meters. Now, facing most of the mutant beasts in the simulation zone, I don't even need to exert myself. I can just crush them with my size and weight. After tasting the flesh and blood of the spiked armored boar, I quickly lost interest in those low-level mutant beasts. To quickly find stronger mutant beasts, I had to calm down and carefully sense the different auras. Powerful mutant beasts usually have a strong sense of territory within their range of activity. The presence of lower-level mutant beasts drops sharply. Using this as a clue, I found a giant wolf with 3 heads. The 3-headed giant wolf was over 5 meters long, its entire body wrapped in flames, exuding an imposing aura. Its fangs were prominent and fierce. Facing the uninvited intruder, the 3-headed giant wolf didn't attack proactively, like other mutant beasts. Instead, it stood still, waiting for its prey to come to it. The moment it saw me, the 3-headed wolf raised all 3 heads and howled at the sky. The howl echoed through the dense forest, sending a chill through my heart. What is this? Why am I feeling fear? An enemy of this level shouldn't scare me. Could it be that the howl has some kind of mind control effect? Interesting, very interesting. Inside the conference hall, the appearance of the 3-headed wolf sparked another round of discussion. The flame 3-headed wolf, a late second-stage mutant beast, a quasi-transcendent mutant beast. Now this is something worth watching. The 3-headed wolf is strong in both offense and defense. I want to see if Zulan can break through its defenses. The first creature bigger than Zulan. Feels like it's going to be a tough fight. The military has that much faith in Zulan's combat ability. They actually dared to throw a beast of this level. Ow. Just kidding. If he wins this fight, I'll unconditionally accept the Ancestral Dragon project. Li Jianzhang stared at the flame 3-headed wolf on the screen, his fists slightly clenched. This should be the highest level mutant beast deployed today. It's also the first quasi-transcendent beast Zulan has encountered. Transcendent beasts are beings far more powerful than ordinary mutant beasts, possessing the supernatural ability to control natural forces. Unlocking supernatural abilities is the entry requirement for third-stage beasts, and the flame 3-headed wolf, which has faint supernatural abilities, but isn't strong enough to be third stage, is called a quasi-transcendent mutant beast. The flame 3-headed wolf can use its roar to amplify the fear in its enemies' hearts. An ordinary person hearing the 3-headed wolf's roar would immediately give up fighting, or even their will to live. But judging by Zulan's state of mind, the effect on him should be minimal. If he can defeat it, it means Zulan's combat power. It's already infinitely close to the 3rd order 1st level. At the same time, the 3-headed wolf unleashes its roar again, but the howl that had just given me some pause has now lost its effect, so I crouch down and slowly move forward. Seeing the enemy advance instead of retreat, the 3-headed wolf shows a look of surprise. This is the first time it's seen such an arrogant prey. So it's completely enraged. Its three heads roar as it charges toward me. Seeing this, I glare ahead. My muscles tense, gathering strength. Then I push off, leaping into the air. I slam head-on into the three-headed wolf. The middle head of the three-headed wolf bites into my body, while the left head bites one of my arms. Meanwhile, I sink my teeth into the three-headed wolf's back, and so, both sides exert force at the same time. The three-headed wolf's fangs only leave scratches on my body, while my steel-like teeth pierce through its tough hide. After a struggle for some time, the sound of the three-headed wolf's bones shattering rings out. This overlord of the forest lets out a mournful howl and crashes to the ground. No clever attack strategy, no flashy battle process. I relied purely on raw strength to crush this top-tier second-order beast. Then, with a gleam in my eyes, I rip open the three-headed wolf's belly and start devouring it wildly. After watching the battle on the screen, the conference hall falls into a brief silence. Even the flame three-headed wolf was so pathetic. Mid-second order isn't even his limit. This is insane. Terror, naked slaughter, terror, naked savagery. As Zulon's combat ability shocks everyone, voices of doubt also arise. This creature is strong in battle, but can it really be used by us? Yeah. This guy has an even stronger urge to fight and wildness than ordinary beasts. Who knows if humans are on its menu? Once it gets stronger, how will we control it? Humans are humans. Beasts are beasts. This thing feels way too dangerous. If it's not completely reliable, it's completely unreliable. But amid all the doubts, thanks to my immense strength, I also gained some supporters. What era are we in now? It's the Cataclysm era. We need bloodlust. We need animal instinct. We need wildness. We need powerful combat strength. Are you going to reason with those surrounding powerful nations and those mythical giant beasts? The experts in the room argue back and forth, falling into a heated debate on whether to continue the Zulon experiment. The expert panel splits into two completely opposing factions. The opposition believes the martial god project is enough. The outcome of cultivating Zulon is hard to predict. The supporters argue that, in times of crisis, we should try every possibility. Su Weidong and the military commanders record all the points of contention. The experts' concerns also reflect the worries the public might have in the future when the Zulon project is unveiled. These debating points will become valuable experience for the military in handling public opinion. At the same time, I finish today's hunting task. Just as I'm about to leave the simulation zone, Li Jianzheng speaks up, interrupting the experts' debate. He and the military had anticipated this situation, so they specially arranged an interactive segment. Li Jianzheng stands up and points at the screen. Instead of just making promises, Zulong is no ordinary beast. He understands our language. He can communicate with us. We can trust him completely. On the screen, I'm escorted by soldiers into a room. In the room, Lianren and Li Zhenzhen are waiting for me. The experts are all stunned, putting to children who can't even fight in front of a beast. Isn't that asking for death? Even for an experiment, you don't use children. What are you all doing? Old Li, aren't these your two granddaughters? This is way too dangerous. Just as the crowd was panicking, on the screen, Li Zhenzhen had already crawled into Zulon's arms. And Zulon, shedding the fierce demeanor he had in the simulation zone, showed a helpless expression similar to a human's. This is my little granddaughter. Ever since Zulon appeared that day, they've been playing together. During their interactions, Zulon displayed intelligence far beyond other alien beasts, even comparable to humans. Although we've faced major setbacks in alien beast experiments, I firmly believe Zulon is different from other alien beasts. I believe our Zulon is absolutely friendly to humans. Just as Li Jianzheng was saying this, suddenly a cry like an air raid siren rang out. On the screen, Zulon, with a smile, lifted Li Zhenzhen up, scaring her into crying loudly. Li Jianzheng coughed twice, signaling the operator to cut the surveillance feed. Although this interaction managed to win over some opposing experts, it wasn't all of them. At that moment, a middle-aged man stood up, his eyes calmly fixed on Li Jianzheng. This man's name is Huang Qiming, a leading scholar in the field of marine arts today. He was once Li Jianzheng's most outstanding student. In that alien beast rampage incident, he lost his fiancée, to whom he was engaged, and a close friend from years of study. Since then, he has become a staunch opponent of alien beast cultivation. Although he once said he didn't blame Li Jianzhang, only hated the alien beasts that betrayed them, Li Jianzhang has been filled with guilt toward him ever since. Everyone should know the fable of the farmer and the snake. There's no need to bring up that alien beast incident again. After all these years of research, it's not like we haven't discovered alien beasts with an affinity for humans. But an alien beast is an alien beast. Those friendliness traits, those affinity traits, without exception, are just their survival strategies. Once your strength can no longer fully control them, they'll show their true colors. Zulong might be the kind of existence. The day we can no longer control him, any remedy will be too late. I oppose advancing the Zulong project. With that, Wang Qiming sat down. A new round of arguments erupted in the venue. Still, the experts carefully reviewed their notes and submitted their scores for Zulong. After processing by the system, Su Weidong received the first batch of expert scores. The results showed that in the 2 dimensions of combat ability and growth potential, Zulong received nearly perfect scores from the expert panel. If he were a human dancer, the military would definitely invest a huge amount of resources, going all out to nurture him. However, Zulong's 3rd dimension risk of losing control showed that everyone still had concerns. But although the risk of losing control score was never high, it barely passed, so Su Weidong solemnly announced, the military is willing to take this risk and will increase investment in the Zulong project over time. The central cafeteria was buzzing with talk about Zulong. For these curious young dancers, the appeal of a mysterious creature like Zulong was beyond doubt. Where is Zulong in combat today? Any news? Same as yesterday. In the Earth Zone, the whole area is Zulong's now. All the dancers have been reassigned. Not just the zone. I heard there's also a special underwater testing area. Wow, that's Zulong for you. Taking over 2 whole zones. That's some serious treatment. No way. Can Zulong even fight underwater? That would be way too powerful. But this is a dragon, you know, a mighty dragon crossing the river, churning the seas and overturning the waves. In water, it's like a fish in water, right? Today, Zulong was in the Earth Zone and apparently took down a 3-headed wolf. Word is, it crushed it into dust. Yesterday it was fighting a giant wild boar, and today, it's taking on a 3-headed wolf. That's some power.